The Holcim Foundation Awards is proud to partner with The Urbanist on Monocle Radio. The Holcim Foundation Awards is the world's premier competition for sustainable design, highlighting projects that contribute to the transformation of the building sector. Awarding $1 million in prizes, it honours excellence in sustainable design and construction. By showcasing innovative, soon-to-be-realised projects, the awards drive change and inspire a new generation to adopt responsible design practices. To mark the opening of free entry for the 2025 edition, the Urbanist team, led by Andrew Tuck, will bring you a very special episode of the show, where Andrew sits down with the innovators and inspirational leaders behind landmark projects in sustainable architecture and design. To find out how the Holcim Foundation supports such benchmarks of excellence in sustainable development, and to learn more about the Holcim Foundation Awards, head to holcimfoundation.org now. The Holcim Foundation Awards, proud partner of The Urbanist on Monocle Radio.
Welcome to the first in a special series of Tall Stories, brought to you by the Holcim Foundation Awards, the world's premier competition for sustainable design, highlighting projects that contribute to the transformation of the building sector. I'm your host, Andrew Tuck. In each episode, we welcome one of the jury chairs to explore their views on creating uplifting places, fostering a healthy planet, developing viable economics, and building thriving communities. We ask them how their careers began, the pillars of their practice, and what their hopes are for the future of the industry. This week, we speak with the American architect and the founder of Studio Gang, Jeanne Gang.
Architecture just seems to blend the things that I love to do, which is art and mathematics, geometry. But more lately, it's even, thinking of new paths in architecture. I come back to nature for inspiration in terms of how it can regenerate. Architecture can be so many different things. For me, it's about practicing this art of making in the spirit of working with the environment and with the habits of people, the behaviors. I always knew that I wanted to have my own studio and to build it out the way that we could do all these different things and not be put into a narrower, let's say, box. So in the studios that I worked for, in my internships and my apprenticeships early on, I was really just taking note of how these different studios operated, but I had a different idea of how I wanted to do it. And so there was never a question. I always wanted to start up my own office and really follow organically, like the things that I just like to do, like the things that I like to occupy my time with, which is design, writing, making beautiful things, responding to neighborhoods and people and what they need, and trying to be useful, I guess, to the communities that I work in. But it being led by me was really important because I just didn't see those activities happening in some of the other firms. There's different scales of sustainability and response to environment, from the most personal things that you do and the more community level and the architect group level, the community of buildings that you're working in, the cities, and then there's even, things that are on the scale more of the planet. So just knowing what you're trying to impact when you're working on it, what scale it is really important. I would say also, though, that in architecture, what's changed is when I first started the practice, there was a lot of work on the operational uses of the buildings, and there was less about embodied carbon and materials. And so now the big challenge is embodied carbon. And I think that's interesting because it's more holistic. So that's why I really connect with it, because it's really thinking about the big picture of building, what it means. So that's a big evolution that's happened both in the profession and then, of course, with us as well, so that we can track those things and also be inspired by what materials to use in any certain place. One of the things that I'm really interested in is how to increase the intensity of use of buildings. So maybe starting with a building that's already there, but adding to it in ways that will make it work harder, maybe 24/7, or multiple programs operating inside the building or additional programs. So, how do we make the most of the things that we already have? And I think it's really important right now for everybody to be working on this project of increasing intensity of use of the things that we already have. One project that I really am excited about right now that we're working on is the Dorr School of Sustainability at Stanford. The idea of the project is great. It's like bringing together all these different departments, and they will be able to connect with each other and come up with some solutions that are cross-disciplinary. So off the bat, it's a great project before it even has architecture. And then what we're really digging into with that one is the embodied carbon and thinking about materials that are nearby in Stanford from buildings that, have been already taken down, creating a biodiverse slice of the campus, creating places for people to connect on the human level, like how can you make a new home for this new school so that the people inside can really connect to each other and come up with solutions. Every project that I've ever taken on, there's a bigger meaning to it and a bigger impact that it could have. So what does it have the ability to take on and make a meaningful contribution? That's always the question. So it forces you to look outside of the plot lines of the site and how it connects to a bigger system. Every kind of project has this bigger footprint. One of the really exciting things for me about architecture in the future is it's not just like the things that we're discovering and inventing, but it's also what is an architect is evolving. I see architects that study architecture using their skills as people that understand systems and being involved in all aspects of society. So I think that's really encouraging and exciting for me. The exciting part about sustainability is it suggests innovation. Sometimes we can find innovation in looking to the past too. Like there are very interesting vernacular techniques that I see being used and that we ourselves have used on certain projects. And it's really exciting to think about what can be done, and it's really needed, it's urgent. And so when you have this innovation, that's the place to look that will help advance the work towards a more sustainable world.
Tall Stories is a Monocle production from the team behind The Urbanist. This episode was brought to you by the Holcim Foundation Awards. For more information, visit holcimfoundation.org. I'm Andrew Tuck. Goodbye, and thank you for listening, City Lovers.